So you are a hardcore Disneyland fan that wants to go to Disney World in 2021 but not sure how to plan for it? I'll show you how right now. What is up, everyone? Welcome to this episode of Damien Does Disney, which is also known as D3. In this episode, I'm going to show all of you hardcore Disneyland fans how to successfully plan a trip to Disney World in 2021. If you are new to this channel, welcome. Thanks for your support. I know you have a lot of other options out there to get your Disney fix. I really appreciate you. For those of you who are already a part of the D3 family, welcome back to the ride. Alright everyone, now this video in particular is geared to all you hardcore Disneyland fans who are on either in the West Coast or in the Western United States. Now, by the time you see this video, either Disneyland is still closed, and hopefully by the time you see this video, Disneyland is open by now. But in the meantime, my goal in this video is to show all of you hardcore Disneyland fans on how to successfully plan a trip to Walt Disney World in Orlando, Florida. Now, Disney World is a whole different world in itself, of course. It's about 42 square miles of fun and magic. And it takes a lot to plan out for this trip. So in this video, I'm gonna show you guys about 6 or 7 tips of how to successfully and flawlessly plan that trip to Walt Disney World. Okay everyone, tip number 1 is to successfully download the Walt Disney World app to either your cell phone or your tablet. Now folks, I can't stress you guys enough that you will be using this app frequently, either from booking your reservations for your hotel to your park tickets and things like that, even for your restaurant. So you will frequently use this app. This is going to be your most valuable tool. So again, tip number 1 is to successfully download the Walt Disney World app. Alright everyone, tip number 2 is to create a Disney account within the Walt Disney World app. Now if you guys are like me, you might already have a Disney account with Disneyland or the regular Disney website. Now this account can be used on the Walt Disney World app as well, so you guys should be fine. Now if you guys do not have a Disney account, you need to create one. Now this is just as important as tip number 1 is having an app itself, because you will frequently be using your Disney account to access your tickets and to make reservations for restaurants and also for your hotel reservations. So again, tip number 2 is to successfully create a Disney account. Now tip number 3 is very important everyone. Tip number 3 is to check the park's availability, the park dates availability to be exact. Now this is where Disney World is different from Disneyland. If you guys might not already know, you need a ticket reservation to get to any of the Disney parks right now. If you don't have a ticket or park reservation, you will not be able to access the parks during that day. You can't go on the same day. Now, it's very important. This is set the tone of your trip. Before you book your hotel, you must pick your days you want to go to the parks. This is what I did. I almost made the mistake. So make sure you pick your dates like about at least 2 or 3 months in advance, so you guys have a good period to decide if you guys want to change your dates or not. So again, tip number 3 folks is to select your park dates ahead of time. Now tip number 4 pretty much ties in with tip number 3. Tip number 4 folks is that as soon as you guys select your dates you want to go to Disney World, tip number 4 is to purchase your park tickets. That's very important folks. Like I said before, if you don't have your park tickets for those days, you will not be able to get into the parks. Again, tip number 4 is to purchase your park tickets. Now after you selected the dates and purchased your theme park tickets, now it's time to move on to tip number 5. Tip number 5 folks is to book your airline tickets and also book your hotel reservations. First with your airline tickets. Folks, trust me, you do not want to drive across country to Walt Disney World. It takes about 3 to 4 days. It'll be insane. But when you book your airline tickets, be sure to book them directly through the airline you want to fly with. You do not have to book them through the Disney World website. It's a little bit more difficult if you do it that way because you would not be able to select your seats. So whenever you book your airline tickets, be sure to book them directly through Delta, United, or Spirit, whatever airline you choose to fly. Be sure to book your tickets directly through the airline. As for the hotel reservations, folks, there are tons and tons of hotel options at Walt Disney World. That's what is so great about Disney World. You have about close to like 100 different hotels to choose from, even on property, even off property. So after you book your own air flight, your airfare and everything like that, make sure you book your hotel reservations right away. That way you have a place to stay. Again, tip number 5 folks is to book your airfare and also book your hotel reservations. Now that you've booked your airline tickets and your hotel reservations, now it's time to move on to tip number 6. Tip number 6, everyone, is to book your ground transportation, folks. Yes, indeed, folks. Like I said, Disney World is so huge. You need to have ground transportation. Now you have several options. Now, option number 1, which I strongly recommend, and while they still offer this option, is to try, if you can, before the end of the year, before the December 31st, 2021, if you can, try to book the Disney's Magical Express bus. That's really incredible right there. Or if you book the Magical Express right now before the end of service, you will not have to have a car to get around the resort anywhere, because pretty much when you get to the MCO, the airport you fly in to go to Walt Disney World, you just pick up your baggage and you just take the bus, the shuttle from the airport directly to your resort. That's only if you're staying on the Walt Disney World property, that is. Now, if you're not staying on the Walt Disney World Resort property, the next option is to either A, book a rental car, or B, take an Uber. I would strongly recommend, folks, if you're not staying on Walt Disney World property, take an Uber to your resort. Or I should say, let me rephrase that. If you're staying on Walt Disney World property or in one of the neighboring hotels, take your Uber to that resort, and pretty much 9 times out of 10, that resort will have a shuttle to take you to either Disney Springs or any other one of the other Disney theme parks right there. So again, folks, tip number 6 is to book your ground transportation. Now, before we move on to tip number 7, I want to emphasize a little bit more on tip number 6 in regards to ground transportation at Walt Disney World. Now, folks, like I mentioned before, Walt Disney World is huge. It's so huge they have their own transportation system. Now, you do not need a rental car. Only reason why you need a rental car going to Disney World is you're going to visit some place off of property. Like if you want to go visit, another one of the theme park resorts, like Universal Orlando or SeaWorld or someplace like that. If you're not going to visit those places, I strongly recommend if you want to use a rental car. Or I would just say use your option number A again, like I said before, the Magical Express, until the end of this year, which this service ends on December 31st of 2021. Beginning January 1st, 2022, this Magical Express service will no longer be available. Now, back to this year, in regards to transportation, I would say either take an Uber to your resort if you're staying on property or on the surrounding neighborhood, Disneyland neighborhood hotel, Disney World neighborhood hotels, or once you get to your hotel destination, use the ground transportation that Disney World offers. Like I said, folks, they have water taxis. They have the monorail out there is an incredible way to get around, especially from theme park to theme park. Also, the bus system is incredible. It's like a metro, own individual metro system to every resort on the property, into all the theme parks itself. And also have handicap accessible shuttles as well, folks. Like I said, transportation, you don't need to worry about transportation once you go to Disney World. Once you get off the plane, either take a Magical Express if it's still offered, or Uber to your hotel property, and just use the ground transportation at Walt Disney World. Now we have arrived to our final tip, everyone. Tip number 7, folks, is to book your dinner reservations ahead of time. Yes, indeed, folks, this is very important, especially for Walt Disney World. Now, if you guys are planning to eat at one of the famous or popular Disney World restaurants at either one of the theme parks or even at Disney Springs, it's very important to try to book your dinner reservations ahead of time. Now, you can probably book them the same time, around the same day you book your theme park tickets, or you can probably book it closer to the time you actually go to the theme park. I plan to book my dinner reservations probably about 30 days out. Probably, I would say in the middle of February, which is next month, by the way. Yeah, that's pretty much very important right there, especially when you eat one of the popular restaurants like Tiffin's or over at Animal Kingdom or someplace like that, or someplace over at Hollywood Studios like the Brown Derby. It's very important to book your dinner reservations ahead of time. Hey, that's the thing right there at Disney World. People love to eat, and if you don't book your reservations, you probably have to be stuck doing a walk-up, which is probably not bad at all, doing a standby menu or be available for standby at one of the restaurants. Again, our final tip, folks, tip number 7 is to book your dinner reservations. Well, folks, there you have it. Those are my tips on how to successfully plan a trip to Walt Disney World if you live on the West Coast or in the Western United States. I hope you found this information very helpful. In the meantime, if you're looking for some more amazing tips, in particular for Disneyland, feel free to check out My Fun Library, where I have some more amazing Disneyland tips, in particular for the best restaurants, the best places to relax throughout the Disneyland Resort, and also downtown Disney. And also check out my Fun Disneyland Adventures to help you get your Disneyland fix. Thanks again for watching, folks. Remember, if you like what you see, go ahead and click that like button below, and feel free to share this video. More important, if you like me, go ahead and click that subscribe button below and become a member of the D3 family. And remember to click that notification bell so you can get notified as soon as I drop some Disneyland news. And last but not least, folks, remember to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and also on Twitter. See you guys soon.